reactions. Chemical reactions can be represented using symbols. Using what? Symbols. So it is easier for us to deal with symbols. By the way, abbreviations are used everywhere, not only in science or in chemistry. When you are chatting or talking with your friend, you just kidding, you just abbreviate it as JK, for example. The same thing for chemical reactions. Chemical reactions or chemical equations can be written in by symbols. And these symbols represent what happens in the chemical reaction. So a chemical equation, hello Shahid, good morning. طيب. A chemical equation is a way, الصفحة واضحة شباب؟
Yes.
واضحة.
A chemical equation is a way to describe what? A chemical reaction using symbols instead of words. This is the meaning of a chemical equation. طيب. Chemical equations in general are shorter than sentences, of course, but they contain all the necessary information that summarize the chemical reaction or what happens in the chemical reaction. Fine. Just as cell phone user who reads JK needs to learn what that stands for, a scientist or students needs to learn. You need
أستاذ هاي أي صفحة؟
at the beginning of lesson 3. This is page. نتالي دوت موجودة. This is 91. 91.
Okay.
طيب.
Thank you.
So you need, scientists and the students need to learn how to read and write chemical equations. Okay, you have to know the chemical formula for the compounds or elements. You have to know what are subscripts, what are coefficients. Type the chemical. So you need to learn how to read and write equations. The chemical equation summarizes the reaction and that expressed is shown in figure here. For example, this is an example of a chemical equation. This is a chemical equation. This equation or this chemical equation shows or explains what happens in rusting. This equation here, iron and oxygen are written to the left of the arrow. They are the reactants, and the products are written to the right of the arrow. What does the arrow mean? Who can tell me? What does the arrow?
The product.
No. What?
No, like they together equals this thing.
The meaning of arrow and chemical equation yields or give us yields. Okay.
Yes.
Fine. This is what we call this number 4. What is it? It is a coefficient. What this 2, this number, what is it? What is it? It is subscript. طيب. على فكرة أنتم مش فاهمين لحد الآن. I think that you are not understanding. طيب.
I do understand.
لا فاهمين.
طيب. The chemical equation conveys 3 things. First, the identities of the molecules involved in the reaction. What type of molecules involved? The elements that make up those molecules, and whether the molecules are products or reactants. So, in a chemical equation, the chemical equation conveys or represents or shows 3 things: the identities of the molecules. For example, when we say water is the identity of H2O. The elements that make up the molecule, for example, water molecule is made up of hydrogen atom and 1 oxygen atom and 2 hydrogen atoms, and whether they are reactants or products. Fine. All of these details, inshallah, we will learn. The first thing you have to learn to write a chemical equation, you must understand how you must understand the chemical formula. Each substance, whether it is a molecule, compound, element, has a chemical formula. What is a chemical formula? It is a chemical formula combines the symbols of different elements to represent a molecule. Example, water. It is a molecule, it is a compound or a molecule. This is the chemical formula for water. By the way, in science, when you see this way, this full H2O, directly you know that it is water. Water, this is a chemical formula for water. Water molecule is made up of two hydrogen atoms and one oxygen atoms. Type H is the symbol of what? For hydrogen. Okay. O is the symbol for what? Symbol for oxygen. The subscript, okay, this is subscript. This is called subscript. This number is a subscript. It is for hydrogen in this case. This number 2 is a subscript. That means we have 2 hydrogen atoms in this molecule. The subscript next to the letter of shows how many atoms of that element are in the molecule. Okay, and so there are 2 hydrogen atoms in water. If there is no subscript, what does this mean? If there is no subscript, that means that there is only 1 atom of that element. So there is only 1 oxygen atom in water molecule. Notice that there is nothing besides oxygen atom. Okay, fine. Look here, please. مين اللي قاعد في صوت يا شباب؟ بليز اعمل في صوت. طيب. CO2. What is CO2?
Carbon dioxide.
Carbon dioxide. Thank you. This is what we call this. This is a chemical formula for. This is a chemical formula for carbon dioxide. طيب. استنى خلينا اكتبها بطريقة أحسن. CO2. طيب. This is the chemical formula for what? Carbon dioxide. طيب. What is this? What is C?
Carbon.
It is the symbol for carbon. Symbol of, or this letter represents carbon. Thank you. طيب. O, what is O?
Oxygen.
Yes, it is oxygen. طيب. Is there a subscript beside C, beside carbon?
No.
No. How many carbon
One.
atoms here?
1.
Excellent. So there is 1 carbon atom. What about oxygen? Is there a subscript?
Yeah, 2.
Yes. So we have 2 oxygen atoms. Understood? طيب.
Yes.
But let's take another example. Do you know what is this? Sana. CO. What is it? Can you guess?
Carbon oxide.
Carbon monoxide. It is called carbon monoxide. It is a toxic gas. Carbon monoxide. طيب. C. It is carbon. Okay. Okay, and oxygen is what? O is oxygen. طيب. Is there a subscript beside carbon?
No.
No, so there is 1 carbon atom. Is there subscript beside oxygen? No, so there is 1 oxygen atom. So the difference between carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide, that in carbon monoxide we have 1 carbon atom and 1 oxygen atom, but in carbon dioxide we have 1 carbon atom and 2 oxygen atoms. طيب. Let's take another example. What is this? Listen. What is this molecule? Do you know what is it? This is methane. It is a natural gas. Right. C represents what? ليش ما بتحكوا؟
Carbon.
Carbon.
Okay. What about H?
Hydrogen.
Excellent.
hydrogen.
How many carbon atoms?
أستاذ أنت سامعني؟
One.
How many carbon
One.
atoms in this molecule?
One.
How can you know?
Because there is
Because
no
there's no
number behind it.
number.
No number, بس no subscript. What about hydrogen?
Four.
أستاذ
Four.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you very much. Oh, I think that
سامعني؟
I hope that this is clear.
سامعينك.
Fine.
Yeah, this is quick.
Fine. So if there is no subscript, it means there is only one atom of that element. There is only one, for example, in water, there is only one oxygen atom. So this is the formula. In a chemical formula, you can find the symbols that make symbols of each of all elements that make up the molecule and the number of atoms of the number of atoms. Fine. Structure of the equation. What is the chemical equation? The composition or the structure of the chemical equation like this. It is written like this: reactant and reactant. If there are, suppose that there is 2 reactants, you put them like this. What you put the first reactant, then plus the second reactant. If there is a third reactant, also you put plus and add its chemical formula. The symbol, the arrow means this arrow means yields, and the products are written to the right of the arrow. The reactants are written to the left of the arrow, while the products are written to the the reactants written to the left of the arrow, while the products are written to the right of the arrow. Plus means like in math, 1 + 1. The same thing. All chemical equations a basic structure. Any type of chemical equation have the same structure or composition. A chemical equation indicates the substances involved in a reaction and the substances that are formed as a result of the reaction. In any chemical equations, you must show the substances that involved in the reaction and the substances that are formed from this reaction. The formulas for the reactants are written on the left of the arrow, on the left, and followed by an arrow. Okay, the reactants are always followed by an arrow. The arrow means yields or react to form. The formulas of the products are written to the right of the arrow.
أستاذ بدي أسألك سؤال.
ايش يعني؟
أستاذ هي الحصة بتخلص على 12:10، أنت رح تاخذ وقت زيادة؟
يس. عندكم حصة بعدها؟
لا.
مش مشكلة، مش راح أطول عليكم كثير. الآن if there are 2 or more reactants that they are separated by plus. Always when you between the reactants you add a plus. And the same thing if there are 2 more products, if 2 or more products form, they are also separated by plus sign. Right. The numbers, this is important. The number in front of each component. In front, I mean here. Okay, are called coefficients. They are called coefficients. The numbers in front of each component in the equation show how many particles of the reactants are needed and how many particles of the products are formed. Back to this example. In this example, this number 4 and 3 and 2 are coefficients. For example, in this reaction, in rusting, we need 4 particles or 4 atoms of iron to react with the 3 molecules of oxygen to form 2 molecules or 2 particles of rust. Again, these numbers in front of the products, of the reactants and the front of the products means how many atoms are needed to react to form a specific number of products. In this example, we need 4 atoms of iron to react with the 3 molecules of oxygen to form 2 particles of rust. Clear?
Yeah.
Fine.
Yes.
The numbers in front of each component in the equation show how many particles of the reactants are needed and how many particles of products are formed during the reaction. These numbers are called coefficients. Okay? And they are important because we must, inshallah, you will learn later how to balance the equation. The equation must be balanced. I mean, the number of atoms here must equal the number of atoms here. Look here, please. Look at this equation. How many atoms of iron we have in the reactant side? How many atoms of iron? We have 4. Notice that we have 4. 2 multiplied by 2 equals 4. Here, how many atoms of oxygen we have here? Can you tell me?
3.
No, it's okay. We have 3 molecules of oxygen, but we have 6 atoms of oxygen. 3 multiplied by 2,
Yes.
6. How many oxygen
6.
atoms we have here? 2
6.
multiplied by 3. So we have 6. Always, you must know that the number, Natalie Dot, ليش متأخر? The number, hello Natalie, the number of atoms for each element, again, the number of atoms for each element and the reactants, the number of atoms for each element in the reactants must equal the number of atoms in the products. And if you want to balance, for example, if you want to balance a chemical equation, how should you do? What should you do? First, this, for example, this is A and this is B. These are reactants. Okay. Here you have, for example, AB. Okay. These are the products and these are the reactants. Here, if you have 1 atom of A here, you must have 1 atom of A here. If you have 1 atom of B here, you must have 1 atom of B here. Right. For example, suppose that we have 2 atoms of A react with 4 atoms of B. Right. Is this equation balanced here?
No.
Is it balanced? No, because we have 2. We have 2 atoms of A here, but we have only 1 here. And we have 4 atoms of B.
أتوقع هي 6 بتصير.
لا, okay,
6.
يعني طلع خلينا choose another equation. Suppose that we have, for example, 2A. Sorry. imagine that we have A plus B 2. It gives us AB. Okay, AB2. As this is, remember that this is a subscript, not a coefficient. Now,
Yeah, Ustad, it's balanced.
yes, it is balanced. In this case, sorry, it is balanced. Right, suppose that I want to change something. I want to change something. Listen to me, please. Is it balanced now?
No, it's not.
طلع. For A, we have, make a line like this. Here are the reactants. In the reactants, we have one atom of A and one atom of in the products. For A, it is okay. But is it okay for B? What are
No,
the
it's
number
not.
of atoms in B in reactants?
Four.
But it is what?
It's 2.
It's 2 in the product. So we have a problem here.
It's not.
How can we
equal.
balance it? Look here. We have 4 here. So we must have 4B here.
Just
So
put 2 coefficient in the
yes,
B.
I put here 2. So we have 2 multiplied by 2, it's 4. But there is another problem. Now we have 2,
أنت ليش حاطها على الA؟
we put it here. Now in this case, it is balanced. Notice that we have 2 atoms of A here.
أستاذ يعني الكوفيشنت هون 2 على الA والB ولا 2 على الB بس؟
أيوة. This coefficient, for example, here, thank you for this question. It is like when you say 2 multiplied by A and 2 multiplied
okay.
by B. In math, for example, look here. This is, for example, when you say, did you take this in math?
I think so.
This
yes.
is a coefficient.
Distributive property.
Distributive
Means that
property.
it is 2 multiplied by 5 plus 2 multiplied by what? 4. In science, the same thing. When we say that 2AB means that it is 2A and this number, this coefficient for A and for A. The same thing in science. This coefficient, that means that you multiply 2 with 5 and 2 with 4. Yes, thank you, teacher Ali. طيب. Okay. Thank you. طيب. شباب بتقول أعيد شيء؟
لا أستاذ بس توقع إنه خلصت الحصة.
استنى شوي.
خلصت.
ويت لا ما خلصت بس يعني بلشنا متأخرين كثير. مش مشكلة.
أستاذ حرام عليك.
نعمل هذا الاكسرسايز وخلص. Yesterday this homework many students يعني most of the students have a mistakes. Look at this diagram. The diagram of the molecules in the chemical equation are both models that represent the formation of ammonia. The formation of ammonia. This is ammonia. This is ammonia. How it is formed from when nitrogen molecules, nitrogen gas react with hydrogen, they form ammonia. Okay. طيب. Notice that. Look at the first question. The first question. Circle what? Circle the product and underline the coefficient in the chemical equation. What is the product in this equation? Which is the product?
2NH3.
2NH3.
Yes, this is the product. NH3. You can circle this or circle this. The product is NH3. This is the first thing. And underline the coefficients. Where are the coefficients in this equation? Is there a coefficient here? No. 2 is not.
Underline the 3.
This is a coefficient. Okay. Here is there a coefficient? Yes.
Yes, the 2.
2. This is the first part. This is the product, and this is a coefficient, and this is a coefficient. There is no coefficient here. How many atoms? Notice. How many atoms? And many students have a mistake in this. How many atoms of hydrogen were? In
They
one
are in one
molecule of
molecule.
ammonia.
Atoms.
one
What is
molecule
that?
اه
This is
3
this is two
Forty.
molecules of ammonia, not one. So if in two molecules we have 6, so in one molecule we have 3. Because one molecule of ammonia is NH3. Understood?
yes
So 2 means that we have two molecules of ammonia. So we have in 2 molecules we have 6, in one molecule we have 3. Okay, fine. Are any atoms created or destroyed in this reaction? Of course, no. Because of the conservation of mass. Notice, let us balance this equation. How many nitrogen atoms we have in the products?
1.
2 يا
Nitrogen atoms. I don't mean molecules. There is 2 nitrogen atoms. Here we have 2 because 2 multiplied by 1 is 2.
Yeah.
But how many hydrogen atoms we have? 3. Multiply by 2, 6.
6.
How many hydrogen atoms we have? 6 because
6
2 multiply.
multiplied by 6
If you want to find the number of atoms in any molecule, you multiply the coefficient multiply by what? The subscript. Fine. Another example. I will give you example. And I will finish. After this example, I will finish. Look here, please. This is, for example, CH4. Okay? Fine. Who can tell me how many carbon atoms we have here? In this?
3.
3. Excellent. 3 multiplied by 1 because there is no subscript. So we have 3 carbon atoms. Excellent. Fine. How many hydrogen atoms we have?
4.
12.
12.
Yes. 12.
3 times 4
3 times 4. Multiply the coefficient with the subscript. طيب here. والله صايرين تفهموا. طيب.
ثبت يا أستاذ
صايرين تفهموا ما شاء الله. H2O. How many hydrogen atoms we have?
10.
10
يعني طلع. To understand it more, we have 5. Do you know what is the meaning of this? We have 5 molecules of
Water.
We
أستاذ
have
يعني 10 for hydrogen and 5 for
we
oxygen
have 5 molecules of water. 1 molecule of water has 2 hydrogen atoms. 5 molecules have 10. Or simply multiply this, the coefficient with the subscript. طب how many oxygen atoms?
5.
many
5.
5 yes
5. Here,
that times 1
another example. We have, what is the meaning of that? We have 4 molecules of carbon dioxide. Wait. We have 4 molecules of carbon dioxide. How many carbon atoms we have?
4.
How many
4.
oxygen atoms?
4
8.
8. Yes.
8.
أنا مش شايف ترى
Fine. Thank you very much. Is it clear?
Yeah.
Yes.
Fine. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Here is a صليب.
شو كنت أكتب thanks بس
Thanks very much.